What's going on, everyone? David Jones here with Joe this fine Saturday night, doing the show a little bit early. A lot of info to digest. I'm finally back. I'm finally back from the surgery I had on Wednesday, and I'm not feeling 100%. But I do like this slate tonight, Joe. I've been looking at it for a while. Tell everyone how you're doing, man.
Doing well. Nice six gamer. We had a lot of news break early. So obviously helps us out from a scrambling standpoint, but obviously going to increase ownership. So excited to dive in together.
Yeah, just overall looking at the slate, there's honestly plays I like from almost all of these games.
Yeah.
And I wrote up the guys that I like the most. I'm submitting the article soon, so that'll be up for you to read. I'm going to fill out the cheat sheets after the show. But the first game, we've got Utah at Washington. And my boy, Kyle Kuzma. I like how Kyle Kuzma's been playing with Washington this year. He's out, man. And we were talking about it before the show. Like, who's this going to give the biggest bump up to? And we were pulling up splits for someone we've got a lot of questions about so far today with Montrezl Harrell. Let's just start there because the price is cheap. He plays center. Kuzma does not, but we are looking at like on off the court splits, and it does help Harrell somewhat. He's averaging 7.18 more DraftKings points with Kuzma off the court. His usage goes up by 4.28% to 25%, and that's good. Rebounds up, points up across the board. Do you think that Kuzma being out is going to give Montrezl Harrell a big enough boost to get him in our lineups on a slate that's just full of value?
I think he can. It's just all about where you want to differentiate. I think on FanDuel, I'd be more inclined to play Montrezl Harrell, where you have to fill two power forward spots. He's only 5'3", which makes him really enticing, especially with the permanent production. The assumption that he's going to get a few additional minutes. The problem with him on DraftKings is that he's center only. So, like me, myself, like Nikola Jokic is my first player in my lineup. He's probably going to be that for many people. Then it's like, do you really want to put Montrezl Harrell in your utility, or is there someone else in a different position you want? So I think he's a FanDuel only play today. Mm-hmm. I think he's a fine play, though, because power forward's kind of a gross position. Like, you're either paying all the way down to a KJ Martin, a Marvin Bagley, Kyle Anderson, or you're paying all the way up to a Christian Wood or a Jared Allen. So I think splitting the difference with someone like Montrezl Harrell is a fine strategy.
Okay, yeah. I'm looking at power forwards right now. Not like I like the small forward and some of the guard value more power forward.
Yeah.
So I'm not like all over it or anything. Does it make a little bit of sense? Yeah, I think it makes a little bit of sense. I'm sitting here looking at like how Utah does against the center. We all know that Rudy Gobert is the center down there, but he really affects the entire team more so than just like the center. It's not like centers are dead going up against Rudy Gobert, and we know Harrell's been really better than I think probably everyone expected so far this year. The Jazz allowing, 14.52 rebounds per game to opposing true centers, 22 points. That includes starters and backups, 54.05 points per game combined to the center position, which is like 11 or something in the league. I mean, you can go there. Not too worried about it. Top play for me, no, but do I mind mixing it in? MME stuff? No, I don't. What about other guys on Washington? Does this affect anyone else for you? And then talk about Utah too. Who you like from this game overall?
Yeah, I think obviously we talked in the green room a bit about Denny. I think he'll get more minutes. I just, with so much other value on the slate that's much better and stronger from a per dollar standpoint, I just don't feel the need to get there. The one player who, like Bradley Beal at only 8.4 on FanDuel is really, really cheap. We know Utah gives it up from 3. My concern, though, is that Utah just kind of, I don't say blows the brakes off this Washington team, because Washington's been playing very poorly lately. If Beal doesn't have a ceiling game, this game's going to get out of hand. And because they lost, they're probably their second best offensive player this year in Kuzma, it's easier now for Utah to kind of key in on Bradley Beal a little bit more. So it's hard for me to play. I love Beal's price. If I'm playing one lineup, though, I'd much rather go to the other side of this game and go Donovan Mitchell for $100 less on FanDuel at 8.3. I think he's fine at 9K, but that FanDuel price, in my opinion, is one of the best on the slate.
Yeah, so you bring up Denny Avdia. I mean, look, he's going to get a usage bump. He's super cheap. I don't think he's going to go out and play like 35 minutes, but he could get close to 30. Like that could certainly happen. I need to pull up the splits with him and Kuzma. But Kuzma hasn't missed any games this year, so it's going to be kind of difficult to decipher. Davis Bertans could get some extra run, maybe even Anthony Gill. If it gets out of hand – is Avdia going to like close this out, or are they just going to pull him?
I don't know. I think we'd see a more of a mixture of players like potentially Denny. I'm sure KCP still might be on the court. Corey Kispert probably sees more minutes. Anthony Gill, potentially Isaiah Todd. Like, there's enough guys there where I don't know if I put a lot of stock into potential blowout run.
Yeah, and Denny Avdia, he's not like a fantastic point per minute guy or anything.
Yeah.
There's other guys down there that like I would probably rather roster. We're gonna have Kyle Anderson, KZ Okpala. You can look at Marvin Bagley, maybe PJ Tucker, maybe. But we'll summarize it at the end. He's okay. Denny Avdia is okay. On the Utah side, you mentioned who was it? You were liking Mitchell.
Yeah, I like Donovan Mitchell's price quite a bit for 8-3 on FanDuel.
What about Clarkson? If we're predicting some kind of blowout here, I mean, Jordan Clarkson can get going. He's probably going to be low owned, averaging 24.1 points per game. But when it's a blowout, he can get you closer to 30 minutes. Last time he got 30 minutes, he put up 37 points against Portland. That was a blowout, 129-107. He's a little bit sneaky, but not someone I think has like a huge ceiling or anything. It's not my favorite game on the slate, but there are some pieces you can attack. Overall, I'm going to be focused on other games.
Yeah, so again, being a single lineup player, like I have not in one build yet found myself with more than one piece in this game.
Yeah, let's see. I'm kind of poking around to see if there's anyone we might have overlooked, like Hassan Whiteside down there. He went exploded. He's 30 last game against Philly, 3,200. He did that in 15 minutes. It's just so ridiculous. I'm not going to chase that. Other guys I'd rather go to. Royce O'Neal, never get him right. What about Royce O'Neal? Any interest there, 4,400, or there's just better plays?
I mean, I think you can do worse in cash games, but I don't know if that's a player I want to play in a tournament.
Yeah, no one ever does. Sometimes it works out for them, though. Looking at Washington against the power forward, I think they've been relatively good. Jazz have been second best. A lot of that has to do with Rudy Gobert guarding the four. A lot of the times, actually, he does that quite a bit of the time. Washington. Like mid to it's not like a spot you want to attack. So let's move on to the next game. You got anything else you want to talk about there?
Not from this game, no.
Sacramento at Cleveland. I had a bet last night. The second half of the Sacramento game, the Sacramento-Charlotte game, to go over 113.5 points. They'd put up like 137 or something in the first half. I needed to go over 113, and what happens? De'Aaron Fox misses his first free throw at the end of the game. And so I'm like, perfect. He's just got to make the second one. I even turned my phone off. It's like it's going to OT. I came back 5 minutes later, so I missed the second free throw. Great game by him, really, 50 DK points. But, man, he really blew it at the end. Not so great. But this is a game you want to get after, I think. Cleveland at Sacramento. Break down who you like from this one.
There's pieces on both sides of this game a lot. If you're looking like just starting at the spectrum of salary, Jared Allen is one of my favorite plays on the slate, 8-5 on FanDuel. Like this Sacramento team cannot defend centers, and that was with Rashawn Holmes healthy. Now you have the foul-prone Alex Len, who started yesterday for Rashawn Holmes, or you have Tristan Thompson, who I think having a traditional center, a less athletic one than Rashawn Holmes, almost helps keep Jared Allen at the rim like 24/7. And gives him a more traditional matchup that I like quite a bit. So Jared Allen right now is a priority for me on FanDuel. I think he has a massive ceiling in this game. I actually think this game can stay somewhat close too, especially on the back-to-back, even though we just saw Cleveland blow out Minnesota. On the other, I don't mind Darius Garland for 7-6 on FanDuel. That range is kind of loaded right now with whether it be De'Aaron Fox on the other side of this game, Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, like the mid-range, Donovan Mitchell, like all these guys are right there on FanDuel. But I do, if you're in the 7K range, I'd be more inclined to play Darius Garland against the Kings in a pace-up spot than I would be to play De'Aaron Fox on the other side of the ball, knowing that Cleveland might try and slow the pace down a little bit. So I like Garland quite a bit, just not necessarily a priority play on Cleveland. And then on Sacramento, Marvin Bagley's really hard for me not to just lock in and walk away because he's so cheap. Like 4.4 is cheap on FanDuel, but he's 3.7 on DraftKings. I don't know how I'm not going to play him in one lineup today.
God, it's always so tough to get him. I mean, are you seeing anything? Have you seen anything about like solidified minutes for him? Because sometimes he gets them, sometimes he doesn't.
I haven't. I mean, he did not start last game. Still saw 27 minutes. Shot really well from the field, which I think obviously ballooned. Second double-double in his last 3 games, but he also missed, I think, 2 or 3 games from an illness prior to last game. But even like, let's hypothetically say he gets 19, 20 minutes.
Sure.
At 3.7, he's been averaging over a fantasy point per minute, where that won't kill you. So I think he is a pretty damn safe value play on this slate, especially in this matchup where they need productive big men. Especially if Alex Len gets in foul trouble, if Tristan Thompson gets in foul trouble against either Evan Mobley or Jared Allen, like they thin out pretty quickly, which makes me like Bagley quite a bit.
Yeah, he's super cheap. I like him too. Can't really go to Lynn. Thompson, I had too much Thompson last night. Unfortunately, didn't work out for me.
Yeah.
But I'm going to agree with what you said to start off with Jared Allen. Jared Allen is the third highest points per minute guy out of any starter in the NBA over the last 5 games, trailing only the Joker and Embiid, or the fourth. Sorry, it's a typo in my article. Someone's going to get at me for, but the fourth behind Jokic, Embiid, and Gobert. Last night with the blowout, didn't get full run. If it's close, he's going to get full run. He's going to get 45, maybe 50 points. I like him a ton. Problem there, or on FanDuel, I think he's power forward eligible too on FanDuel, isn't he?
He's power forward and center, which makes me like, that's why I'm having a little trouble getting into on DraftKings.
Yeah, so that makes sense because I'm thinking like you're gonna have to fade Jokic or Embiid or Gobert, but you're not necessarily gonna have to do that. But everything's there for Allen. He's been great this season. Should get full minutes, I think, in a close game against a team that gives up a ton of points to the center. Allen, one of my favorite plays. I wrote him up as my favorite center on the slate. I think Mobley is underpriced. Last night it was the Kevin Love game, going back to Timberwolves days. That was awesome. I've got my Love jersey. I should have worn that for the show. Timberwolves jersey. But Mobley, I think, is underpriced over on DraftKings. Pull it up. He was like 6'7", something like that. Yeah, 6'7", going up against Sacramento. Good spot for him, too. Him or Allen's going to have a game. Last time he got 32 minutes against Chicago, put up 42 points. I mean, I think he's good for 36 plus tonight against Sacramento.
Yeah.
He's just playing that well. So give me one of those two bigs, and then I'm with you, Darius Garland. I started to write him up, but then I found myself spinning up and spinning down. It is a fantastic spot going up against the Kings. I believe the Kings, pulling it up, double checking, are still giving up the most points, surpass the Lakers to the point guard. Sacramento Kings giving up the most points to the point guard, 26.81 real points, almost 50 FanDuel points per game to the point guard. The next closest is the Houston Rockets with also 49 Atlanta Hawks after that. Giving it up rebounds, assists, three-pointers, steals, all of it. So he's going to find himself there in kind of like no man's land. No one's going to want to roster him, but we've seen him hit 50, I think, 2 out of the last 5 games, something like that. I'm not looking at him. Game stays close. He can do work. Just like last night. Who was it? Cody Martin last night.
Cody Martin.
Get the Martins mixed up because I got another Martin on my mind for this game. But anyone else from these two teams you want to talk about?
Tyrese Halliburton, I think, is underpriced on DraftKings at 5'8". He's 7'3" on FanDuel. So for me off the bat, like any type of pricing discrepancy like that kind of jumps off the page. He's been playing really, really well lately. Yeah. So I do think he is a fine play. I think he'll be popular on DraftKings. But in one lineup, if you're in that 5K range, I think he makes a ton of sense. The other note, quick on Jared Allen, I've seen around the industry some concerns on the back-to-back. He didn't even play 30 minutes. He only played 26 minutes yesterday. So if anything, that should bode well for you. He had 45 fantasy points in 26 minutes yesterday. I'm not batting an eye on a back-to-back for Jared Allen.
No. The last time he had a back-to-back, he played 32 and 38 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it at all.
No, this is it's not the same Jared Allen we've seen in years past. They'll run him out there. They don't care. Don't care about that. Halliburton, you're right, has been playing well. Price is down. Like him, 5,800 on DK. Oh, what did we even talk about Terrence Davis? Like, what are we doing?
No, oh yeah. Oops, wow. I don't think I'm playing Terrence Davis on FanDuel. 5'7". I understand he's been productive. But at 5'7", I'd rather go down 1,300 to an Armani Brooks. I'd rather go up 900 to Tyler Hero. I'd rather go down 800 to Garrison Matthews. I'd go up 400 Dylan Brooks. There's just too many guys in that range where I feel more comfortable with. My concern right now with Terrence Davis is his minutes. Only 22 last game, which was yesterday. With Harrison Barnes back now, he will take a bit of a hit. With that said, I just think he's been far too productive for Alvin Gentry to say, hey, you're back to being the 9th guy on in the rotation. You're back to 18 minutes. He's been too productive for him to do that. So 3.7 on DraftKings, I think, is a smash play. It's just going to be interesting to me. In that 3.5 to 4K range, you have Armani Brooks, Garrison Matthews, Caleb Martin. Is it Cody or Caleb on Miami? Whichever one's on Miami.
It's Caleb today, yeah.
Caleb, okay. Caleb, and then you have Terrence Davis. So I think a lot of lineups will probably have all 4 of those guys. I don't know if I would go all 4. I'd probably rank Terrence Davis third behind. I would probably go Armani Brooks, Garrison Matthews, Terrence Davis, Caleb Martin.
Yeah. God, I never played Matthews. What is Garrison Matthews?
He's been, I mean, we'll obviously hit on it, but he's been shooting the lights out, shooting a ton of threes. And with Eric Gordon out, like, they need some type of offense, and he's been able to provide that. And Tommy just asked what prevented his minutes yesterday. I'm going to go look at Popcorn Machine.
It was fouls.
Popcorn Machine, was it? Okay.
Terrence Davis had 5 fouls yesterday.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah.
So Terrence Davis played the first 6 minutes of the game, and then he didn't come in. He had a 3-minute stint in the first half, second quarter. We had 1 foul at halftime, and then it won't load for me? Weird. It looks all right. I'm only seeing 1. Oh, he had 3 fouls in that fourth quarter rotation.
Okay.
And that was in the last that was from the 5:30 minute mark to the end of the game. So he closed. He came in and closed with 1 foul, had 3 fouls in the last 5 minutes. So through 3 quarters, he had 17 minutes with 1 foul. It's a little concerning for me. I don't think I'm overly concerned at 3-7, but for 5-7, that's not something I want to kind of dabble with, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good point at FanDuel 5-7. Let me look at what I've done here. Okay, so interesting. DK, I like it more. So here's why I was in on Terrence Davis more. So I didn't realize the last 3 fouls came at the end of the game. So that's my bad. But he still got the start, and Barnes still played yesterday, right? Terrence Davis over the last 5 games. I read you out the stats about points per minute with starters so far. It was what I say: Jokic, Embiid, Gobert, then Jarrett Allen were the top 4 starters, highest points per game over the last 5 games. The 5th guy behind him is Terrence Davis, averaging 1.31 DraftKings points per minute. And that's actually over his last 5 games. My article is just riddled with errors today, as far as typos.
But also quick, Denny is starting for Kyle Kuzma.
Okay,
if that changes anything. I still don't know if I'm going to play him in one lineup. Like, if you're MMEing, I would recommend getting some, especially because of all the value down there and just a means to differentiate. But that just feels like such a low upside play if you're playing one lineup to me.
Okay. Little concerned with the minutes now for Davis. I'm still going to take a shot at 3-7 on him, though. FanDuel, you can probably fade him. I had him in my FanDuel core. You can probably fade him over there now. Still like him on DK. Pretty good numbers still.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else we've grossly overlooked in this game? Let's see.
In this game, I don't think so, no.
And not getting to Tristan Thompson versus the old team. That's what Kevin Love did last night. I think he can get you 24-25, honestly, but I don't know that you need to have him. No one owned him last night, and I was feeling good about it, and then it didn't work out. But all right, let's move on to the next game. Houston at Memphis. You've been mentioning Armani Brooks a couple times so far this game. Brought up Matthews, no Eric Gordon. Kevin Porter Jr. has been ruled out. John Wall is bad. Jalen Green is not going to be in here. So where are we going for Houston?
John, I forgot about your grudge against John Wall and doing the John Wall.
He just hasn't been good for like years, and everyone just acted like he had been. He just has not been. And it was the same thing I was saying with Kemba Walker. They're just not good anymore. And
so, do you think John Wall going to a contender would change that team?
I think they would lose more games. I think there's no way that they would advance if they had John Wall running the point. He's not good anymore, man. I'm sorry, but I was saying it last year. I was saying about Kemba too. They're just time's up. Time's up.
Is this driven by the dance, or is it?
It wasn't a good start. The Dougie was not a good start to his career. I really couldn't stand it, man. And I'm all for having a good time. That's good, but man, that was like the most pompous thing I've ever seen. I can't imagine like walking into my new job and doing that.
And just doing the Dougie. That's funny. But yeah, I mean, so Armani Brooks is gonna be popular. Garrison Matthews will be popular. I think I'm not looking at Christian Wood on DK because of his price. If I'm up in the 9K range, I'm just going to go up to like a Zach LaVine, DeJounte Murray. I think he's a fine pivot off of Jared Allen on FanDuel, but I still like Allen quite a bit more. But what's your take on Kenyon Martin Jr.? He is coming right now. If on the optimizer, I'm looking at FanDuel right now. He is the fourth highest per dollar or the fifth highest per dollar play at 5.55x, projecting for only 5% ownership right now on FanDuel. And I believe on DraftKings, let me go double check what Kyle had on DraftKings, but he was popping there quite a bit.
Yeah.
On DraftKings, 15th overall player rater, 6.4% owned, 6.68x value projected right now.
Yeah.
That for 3,100, that seems like a pretty solid play.
You're talking about Caleb Martin on
the Heat? Kenyon Martin Jr. on
okay.
Houston.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, I'm not terribly on him today. Maybe you can convince me of it. I'm more on the other Martin. So what's the appeal?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, I just think like I would much rather play Marvin Bagley. I would much rather play Armani Brooks. I'd rather play him than Denny. But I think Eric Gordon being out helps the guards more. Like it would help someone like a DJ Augustine, I think, more than KJ Martin, because like you look at Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr. Those are basically their 2 point guards. Eric Gordon, the third point guard. Like you need ball handlers, and that's not Kenyon Martin. So I think if anyone, I'd probably prioritize on Houston. My priority probably goes being a one lineup player: Armani Brooks, Garrison Matthews, Christian Wood, Jayshawn Tate. That's probably my 4 on Houston. Maybe I think in MMA you can dabble with some DJ Augustine as well.
Yeah, have you got the starters yet? I was thinking they might push Augustine.
No.
Augustine might get pushed to the starters, which would be interesting. Yeah, I don't have any interest in Martin. I'll play the other Martin on Miami, but I don't understand that at all. If someone in Discord wants to try and explain that to me, then go for it. But no, he wasn't even on my radar.
That's kind of what I had figured. Is there anyone? So let's switch to the Memphis side of this. Jaren Jackson Jr. doubtful, not ruled out quite yet. If in the off chance he's in, off chance he's expected to miss, he's just too cheap on FanDuel. He's 6'2". That's just too cheap. Regardless of whether he's in or out, or 6'4", excuse me, Dylan Brooks is one of my favorite plays on the slate. Been inconsistent, been frustrating, but 6'1" against Houston as like the only offensive player left in this lineup, it's going to be hard for me not to just lock him in everywhere.
You love some Dylan Brooks.
I do. I really do. And like, it's one of those players that like I've been burned so many times where it would be a disservice to myself if I just hop off now. So I'm just fucking riding. I don't care. I'm on the Dylan Brooks wagon right now.
No, I don't mind Brooks. He's cheap enough over on DraftKings. I mean, you're kind of figuring it out. Like some of these Memphis guys, I always have a tough time for them because it's just like a carousel of who's going to produce. Is it going to be Bane? Yeah. Is it going to be Melton? Is it going to be Brooks? Is it a Kyle Anderson game with Jackson out? He's cheap enough at 4.42, man. Like I'd probably be with you. Have you looked at the splits with Jackson out? I can pull that up and look at it for Brooks.
No, I haven't.
Let's look it up.
Someone, Chavi in chat brings up a good point. Like I'd rather have Josh Christopher as a punt guard over KJ Martin on this slate, especially at the low ownership. I think that's a very good call as well.
Yeah, I'm not on that Martin fella like at all. Christopher 3,500. Yeah, that's a pretty good call. I want to see the starters, but regardless, like he's going to get more minutes. All right, so what are we doing? Dylan Brooks with Jaren Jackson. Interesting. So, Brooks has been worse if you're just looking at the splits tool with Jackson off the court. That's a little bit interesting. Let's look at Kyle Anderson. Kyle Anderson with Jackson off the court.
Do we think Kyle Anderson's going to get the minutes? That's my concern. You know,
I never know, right? He hasn't been like outstanding with him off the court either.
Okay.
Who else do we want to look at? Like Melton.
Yeah, Desmond Bane. It would be another one to look at.
Okay.
Desmond Bane's been playing out of his mind this season. I love watching him play basketball.
something's wrong in the way I'm doing this because it showed me like none of them are really producing at a higher level aside from Desmond Bain.
Interesting. Okay.
With Jaren Jackson Jr. off the floor. So Desmond Bain, if you're just looking at splits, it's the largest bump. But I don't think it's taking into account like Kyle Anderson potential minutes.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. Xavier Tillman, I think, could be another good play because Brandon Clark is also out. I believe he saw under 20 minutes last game, but he still saw. Let me double check so I don't misquote here. Xavier Tillman saw 17 minutes last game. 22.1 FanDuel points, obviously on the back of 4 steals, but get him between 20 and 25 minutes against this Houston front court, and I think he'll be able to produce. In one lineup, I wouldn't go there, but I think Xavier Tillman is definitely worth a shot if you're running 5 or more lineups.
Don't hate it. I think you could do worse. 3,400.
Yep.
All right, cool. 3 games in, 30 minutes have gone by. Anyone else we want to touch on here, or just hammer the favorite plays? Armani Brooks probably going to be my favorite play from Houston.
Same.
Yep. Cool. Chicago at Miami. Walk us through here. We're still missing DeMar DeRozan. Victor Oladipo. Has he even played this season?
He's not. No. We're missing Caruso's in. Stanley Johnson's out. Ayo Dosunmu's out. Or Stanley Johnson's in, I believe. Excuse me. Ayo is out. Caruso's in. I'm not finding myself getting to a ton of Bulls. Like if I end up with like 9K ish left for my last spot, I'm fine with Zach LaVine. I'm fine with Lonzo Ball in the mid range, but not really priorities for me. Lonzo Ball at 7.3 on, I believe he's 7.3 on DraftKings, is a phenomenal play. My concern is the pace of this game. I think could be quite slow, but his minutes are through the roof right now. He's had 40 plus DraftKings points in 3 straight games, 40 minutes, 39.
Yeah, that's good.
This game stays close. He's going to be a big part of it. And he is live for a triple-double on just about every slate. I think I'd rather, salary aside, I would rather play someone. Oh, that's for Sunday. Sorry. I'd rather play Zach LaVine in a vacuum, but I have much more interest in this Miami side.
Did you hear what LeVar Ball said about Michael Jordan?
Yeah. What's your take on that? When's the last? He said something like, "Do you have milk in your fridge? When does it expire? Would you drink it?" And you're like, all right, like that's a fine point. But he's like, when's the last time Jordan won a ring? LeVar Ball is a genius marketer. That's it. Like that's all.
That's it. He knows what he's doing. Good for him.
I completely agree.
So, anyways, Lonzo, 40 minutes a game. I'm down with that. Overall, I think besides him, the Bulls' prices are kind of higher than I want to get to. I was looking at Vooch too. I mean, he should have a pretty damn simple time trying to get to the basket here. I mean, 9,100, that's a lot to pay. And then you're looking at opportunity costs between Embiid, Jokic, and Allen, which I would prefer all of them over Vooch, but I did look at Vooch. I'm probably not going to land on Vooch, so I won't recommend him. What about on the Miami side? So let's start talking about Martin. Martin seems too cheap to me, 3,500. I wrote him up as one of my favorite guards/forwards. Got the start of the last 2 games with Jimmy Butler out against Memphis and against the Bucks. Over 30 minutes, busted against Memphis, had the game of his life against the Bucks. Which Caleb Martin are we going to get here? Is it someone you're locking in? I mean, I tend to think I'm going to have a ton of it.
So FanDuel, I think he's fine at 4.9. 3.5 is a very enticing price on DraftKings because he's going to play 35 minutes because of how thin they are. And if he does anything outside of completely bottom out, he's not going to hurt you because of how chalky he's going to be. So on DraftKings, he's actually my number 1 Heat player. FanDuel, he's not. FanDuel, he'd be my 3rd Heat player simply because of the just dumb price on Kyle Lowry at 6'7", Tyler Hero at 6'6". Those prices are just dumb. Yeah. I think that Lowry is my priority over Hero, but I don't think you don't have to avoid playing both in a lineup. I think they're both viable on DraftKings, but they're more appropriately priced.
Yeah, I was looking at the Bulls, like how much production they're giving up to the small forward, which is where we have him pegged in tonight. I was looking if he was going to be playing guard. He's going to be playing small forward. Small forward, Chicago's actually been giving up quite a lot of points. Seventh most actual points given up. They're in like the bottom 4 against fantasy production against the position. And that is with DeMar DeRozan in, and now DeMar DeRozan is out. So I can't imagine that it gets harder. And Caleb Martin, he's just, I mean, this is a good opportunity for him. He's too cheap. He's going to get a lot of minutes. I've got to play him. I'm going to have to throw out the game where he busted a couple games ago and hopefully he can keep it rolling. Give me like 30 points. That is plenty from Caleb Martin tonight, I think.
I mean, even if you get 25, like, you're fine. Like 30 would be close to 10x. Like, you will be thrilled with that. So then looking at the guards in Miami, who are you prioritizing on FanDuel between Kyle Lowry and Tyler Hero? Is it Lowry?
Probably.
Okay.
I'm looking at it. I'm playing DK tonight, so
for what it's worth, on DraftKings right now, Caleb Martin is projected to be the highest owned player on the slate at 48%. Kyle Lowry 4th at 30% on DraftKings at 7.7. PJ Tucker is projected to be the 6th highest at 25%.
On the team or on the slate?
On the slate.
Okay. Let's do it.
And Terrence Davis, 3rd highest owned player on the slate right now.
See, we need to figure out more about what Terrence Davis minutes are going to be. He's been producing at such a high rate.
Kyle has him projected for 26 minutes, which I think is a median projection.
Would still get over 30.
Yeah.
Should still get over 30. I mean, I know Cavs defense has been good, but I mean, producing at 1.31 points per game over the last, 4 or 5 games, still fine play. All right, PJ Tucker, for me, always hard to play. He gets a ton of minutes, but I'll tell you what, he can put up 12 in 40 minutes, or he can put up 28. It just kind of depends. He's a total punt. Can't recommend him. Can't tell you not to. What about KZ Okpala? What's going on with KZ Okpala?
Not doing it. That just feels grossly unnecessary. But let me pull him up here. I mean, he's 3,400 at power forward. I just like the 32 minutes last game literally came out of absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
He has had 4 times, including that game, 4 games over his last 10 where he's seen more than 7 minutes.
Yeah, but I mean, they're dealing with so many injuries right now, right? And then if you come out and you play 32 minutes, have a good game, double, you're going to get more time, right?
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. Who would you – I mean, the thing is, would you rather play him for 3.5 or Marvin Bagley for 3.7? It's got to be Bagley, right?
Bagley. Yeah, Bagley.
Bagley will come with the ownership. But, I mean, would you rather play him for 3.5 or PJ Tucker for 3.1?
Shit. My answer is always not PJ Tucker. Whoever.
Especially if PJ Tucker is going to be one of the top 5 highest owned players on the slate. Like, that's an easy fade for me. I don't think it will be. But that's an easy fade if that's the case.
Fast Eddie has something good about this. Reminds me of what Fast Eddie always says: when PJ Tucker is popular, it's a good time to fade him. When he is not, it's a good time to play him. Sometimes, I'm not gonna have much PJ Tucker. I can promise you that. All right, cool. We got 20 minutes left. Let's keep on moving. I'll pull up Discord in a second and see if there's anything we're missing out on here. But Max Struss, any interest? I mean, he would benefit, I guess, if Caleb Martin were to suck.
I think I'd be okay with Max Struss, but I wouldn't play him in a lineup with Martin.
Robinson probable. Yeah.
That takes away a little bit from Max Struss. I think at that point we're reaching a little bit because you'd want like Tyler Hero to be out for him to really be viable.
Cool. All right, let's move on. Golden State Warriors on ABC, national televised. I know against the Philadelphia 76ers.
Shit. Okay.
What?
Joel Embiid on national TV.
I know.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
I know. Yeah, I know. Steph Curry on national TV trying to break Ray Allen's record tonight. So if
I think he's 9 away, right?
I think he's 10. Or it's either he like ties at 9 or like
I think he ties at 9, 10 gets it.
Okay. So let's talk about it. I know there's been a lot of really smart people talking about how I'm kind of saying that jokingly, like about how there's like just no chance for him to break the record tonight or tie the record. I actually do think there's a chance for him to do it. I'll give him about a 50% chance because this is Steph Curry. But let's talk about it, man. Actually, I'll talk about it. I'll talk about Steph Curry. So we know this guy. Look, like we know that Steph's going to go out there and take just an absolute shit ton of 3-pointers, right? I know the percentages aren't in his favor, and it's a very hard thing to hit 9 3-pointers. Like, I totally understand that. Is it unlikely? Yeah, it's unlikely that he does it. He shot 17 3-point attempts twice in his last 2 games. If Steph Curry goes out, look, even if he doesn't get the record, the scoring has nothing to do with him getting the record. You know he's still going to be taking a ton of shots, right? If he gets 7 3-pointers, then that's fine. If he gets 10 3-pointers, that's 35 DK points. Anyways, we know that Steph Curry is going to be going into a nationally televised game with an absolute green light. Kerr is going to let this guy shoot the shit out of the ball tonight. He would do it anyways, but it's just even more so tonight. He's going to shoot a ton tonight. He might shoot it 20 times from behind the arc. If he hits 2 threes in the first quarter, if he hits 3 threes, he's going for it. He's going for the record. He wants to hit the record. Whether he gets it or not, I don't know, but the shots are going to be there for Steph Curry tonight. And we know that he can go out, have just as high a ceiling game as Joel Embiid. He can do it. He can drop 60 easy. So Steph Curry, he's my favorite spend up at the point guard position for sure. I can't fade him when I know he's going to shoot it as many times as I know he's going to shoot it tonight, whether he breaks the record or not.
I mean, I can't argue with that. I get it.
Yeah.
In my single lineup on both sides, this is the one game that I have nothing from, and it scares me because it is a nationally televised game. But the thing is, like, Golden State runs a top 5 pace in the league. They're also one of, I think you like statistically one of, but I think you can argue they're the best defensive team in basketball.
I think you can. Yep.
Philadelphia runs a bottom 3 pace in the NBA. That said, I think Steph Curry, if there's one player on the court that's going to control the pace, it will be him. Mm-hmm. I kind of think the pace up spot hurts Embiid a little bit.
Okay.
I think you'll see more of Embiid trailing on possessions and shooting those pull-up threes from the top of the key than you will him finding time to get set, post up, and dominate in the paint. Also, sidebar, talking of posting up, did you see Rudy Gobert try and post up Andre Drummond in the Sixers last game?
No.
I'll have to send it to you. Like, he looked like Stanley from The Office. Like, the guy can't create his own shot, and people want to talk about him as a top 75 player. Shut the fuck up. Like, I think Rudy Gobert is one of the most overrated players ever. Does not deserve $200 million and rant. Anyways, I think Embiid is a fine play. Jokic a priority, but I think you can get really different pairing those two. It's possible on this slate where you're not going to be insanely uncomfortable. I just don't know if I have the stones to do it.
To play both? I'm sorry, I was entering my contract.
Yeah, play both. Play both Embiid and Jokic.
What are you going to do with Jared Allen then? Just slide him into that power forward?
Yeah.
We'll talk about Jokic in a second. I think people are higher on him than I am today. Like, I like him. Obviously, he's going to score a ton of points.
I love Jokic today.
Okay. You can probably talk me into more of him then, because I could tell that coming. What about any of these other guys on the Warriors? I'm not really on any of them. I think it's going to be the Steph show. He's going to take the shots away from everyone else. I'm not playing any of them, I don't think, besides Steph, a ton of them.
I'm not either. I do think, Tyreek brings up a good point. I think Seth Curry's a fine play on FanDuel for 5-4.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a narrative guy. But I need you to just stop and just watch the video EZB just sent in Discord. I mean, this is embarrassing. Like, it's just let me know if you want. It is so bad.
All right,
him trying to create a shot.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I was going to bring up the other Curry when we flipped over to the other side of the game. I mean, when your brother's going – Stanley. When your brother's going out trying to break Ray Allen records, you're probably going to – this is probably annoying for everyone on the show, but I want to see it.
No, it's okay. What is he doing?
Yeah,
he was lost. But, yeah, I think Wiggins I won't play. If you want to play Jordan Poole, I would not do it in a lineup with Steph Curry because Jordan Poole has a ceiling games when Steph Curry doesn't hit shots. Looking at Sixers, Embiid's fine. What about Tobias Harris? He's cheap, but his production just hasn't really been there.
I mean, I'm not like on him. If you land on him, I guess, but I'm not on him. I mean, it's a good defensive team going up against Golden State. There might be more rebounds when Steph's missing a few threes, but not really on him, man. You want him typically when Embiid's out. 8,000. Not really on him.
Yeah. That's about. I mean, Steph is a fine play tournaments, but that's about it. Are you going to move on to the Nuggets and the Spurs game?
I think so. I'm double checking. I like Seth tonight. I think Maxi's even okay at 6'3". Price is down. I don't hate it. Embiid, sure. Like Embiid, 11-2. No problem there. You got Jokic over Embiid tonight, though.
Yes, right. To be honest, by a comfortable margin.
Okay, let's go. Talk about him. Denver versus.
So last 5 games against the Spurs, Nikola Jokic is only 0.8 assists off of averaging a 28 point, 12 rebound, 10 assist triple double. He had a triple double last game, 60 plus fantasy points while shooting 8 of 19 from the field. This is one of the most efficient players in the NBA. He had an outlier game from the field and still had a triple double. Will Barton questionable only helps his stock. He's the league leader in touches for the last 2 years. And I just like the Spurs team has a decent center in Jakob Poeltl, but no one can guard Nikola Jokic. True. Like I just like, and I also I know he's getting steamed. I'm seeing 33% ownership. I would be over that. I just like it. We're at a point with the Nuggets, in my opinion, where if Jokic is under 12K, I think he's underpriced. Like he's consistently hitting 6x when he's 11 to 12K, and I think that's nuts. Like that's what you want out of your superstar, right?
High scoring player on the slate.
Yeah, I think it's Jokic. Yeah. I think the one player that could upend him is Steph, simply because he's going to gun for that record.
Yeah, I like it.
Your eyes
I think San Antonio. I think San Antonio is going to win this game, but kept it close enough for Jokic to get 35 minutes last game. Barton being out, it's not going to help. We should talk about who else is going to benefit here if Barton is out. I mean, you've got Aaron Gordon, you've got Jeff Green, you've got Marcus Morris, you've got Bones Highland, who will probably if Zach was on the show, would tell you to lock him in. He loves that guy. He could get over 20 minutes at 3,400. I think that's fine. Compazio. I mean, they're all going to get a little bump, right? They're all good. I think they could just split those minutes up, those Barton minutes.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, even whether Barton's in or out, I just, especially given the other value on the slate, I just don't know if I feel comfortable going anywhere but Jokic on this Nuggets team. And a lot of that, if this were a 3-game slate, we'd be having a different conversation. It's a 6-game slate, which isn't a huge slate, but it's also a slate just ripe full of value. So I'm okay going elsewhere. I would have more interest in like some of the mid-tier guys in the Spurs than I would on the Nuggets.
All right. Talk about those guys, I guess, if you got any Spurs. I mean, the ones I'm looking at, obviously you're always looking at Murray. Easily go out and drop 50. This guy's so good. Love the way he plays. Derek White, 6'5". His price came down. No problem there. He's been hot lately, too. Derek White's always been a good player. Just sometimes he gets hot, sometimes he gets cold. Lonnie Walker, no thanks ever. Brent Forbes, no. McDermott, McBuckets, probably not with Vasil back. What's Vasil been doing? His minutes haven't been back up where we like him.
And Keldon Johnson being probable also hurts Lonnie Walker quite a bit.
Yeah, and being Lonnie Walker also hurts Lonnie Walker quite a bit. But all right, is there anyone else you want to talk about? I'm not like terribly on these Spurs.
No, I'm good. I think DeJounte Murray, if I'm one lineup right now, I like him if he's in the lineup, but he's not a massive priority.
Yeah.
But I do, if I'm running 3+ lineups, I want at least one Murray. Poeltl's fine, but I wouldn't want to play Poeltl and Jokic in the same lineup. I think
I don't know about that.
He smashes. If Jokic goes for like 80, I think some of it could come at the expense of Poeltl and foul trouble. But I think it's fine. I just want to make it a priority to play them in the same lineup. I like Derek White's price quite a bit on DraftKings. I don't have him in my one lineup, but I like it a lot. I think he's a strong play, but that's about all I have. Like I have no interest in Keldon Johnson coming back. He's been too erratic. Dougie McBuckets and Lonnie Walker and Devin Vassell, I'm good. There's better value on the slate.
Like I think some of these players are good players and could have good nights. But as far as the value goes, I think they're all priced pretty appropriately. Let's see. So Herm's in here talking about Xavier Tillman, likes him a lot, assuming Triple J doesn't play. I mean, I don't hate that at all. Any questions in here, go ahead and drop them in. We'll try and answer them on the show.
Maybe I'll get a Xavier Tillman in there.
Tillman. There's a Tilly, too. Javi's in here talking about some DeJounte Murray. Herm's on him. Herm usually knows what he's doing in here. JP fading Embiid. Don't necessarily hate it. Opto should be fixed. Opto's working on the desktops. I know there was an issue.
Desktop Opto's working fine. I know there's some technical issues on mobile right now, but
Seth. Sorry, Joe.
No, you're fine.
I just like.
What about one player we didn't talk much about? Tyus Jones is still only 5'8" on FanDuel. He's probably going to be very, very chalky. I think there's merit to that. But are you playing Tyus Jones today?
I don't hate it. He's kind of in that no man's land position, right? I mean, I don't love it either, right? He's just okay. I don't love it. Just at the guard position, I feel like we've got some value and some spend ups. It's going to be a lot of stars and scrubs for me today. It's got to be. That's the way that the slate looks. Let's see. Avdia questions. I think he's okay for the price. Night start to the evening. Someone's already winning money in here.
There we go. There's a takedown.
Takedown.
On the
showdown takedown.
Nice. Yeah.
Smockler.
Did Orlando LA beat them by 2? Okay. Well, I guess Paul George was out, which is why it was so close. But
someone said been on golf course all day. Did I miss any news? Yeah, you missed a lot of news, bro. Gonna have to catch up.
There actually is a good, decent chunk of news on this slate. The beauty is that it's already come in.
All right, cool. Well, that should do it. Joe, I think did you want to mention the Opto or the
yeah. So obviously, a lot of people that are asking questions are already part of the FTN Daily community. But if you're not, if you haven't enjoyed your process with NBA DFS this season, check out ftndaily.com. Obviously, the home to all these streams, the projections we're talking about, the optimizer covers every single slate, showdown, classic mode, tiers. You can also back test slates and lineup study, which is something we do quite often. And that's a lot of fun. Proprietary player and ownership models from Kyle and Alex Blickel, including single entry ownership projections, on-off splits, advanced DVP, and the rankings from Fast Eddie Fear, who I know a lot of people watch are from and familiar with, and Zach Graham. You can use promo code FTNT to get 15% off. If you opt for monthly, that 15% off will reduce from every month, not just the first initial month. So no brainer. FTN wins 15% off of everything, and join us for the rest of the NBA season. I've had fun this year.
Yeah, it's been a good season so far. Almost had a takedown last night. Going to get one tonight. I like a lot of the plays. Here's something you can try and take down, a little 5-team parlay. I put in FTN bets.
Okay.
This hits. I actually don't hate
5 and 6 games on the slate.
Hey, man, that's just the way it's going to be tonight. Cavs are going to win. Jazz are going to win.
Yep.
Grizzlies are going to win. Golden State's going to win. And then the San Antonio Spurs are going to win. Plus 702. Cavs, Jazz, Grizz, Golden State, Spurs. If you don't like them all 5, drop 1 off. Hell, drop 4 off. I don't care. Try and win some money. But I also did Cavs and Jazz parlay money line. So there you go. Plus 702. Hopefully it hits. I think it does. If it doesn't, if we get down to the Spurs and the other 4 hit, we'll just head you out of it. That's how that goes. But appreciate you watching. Good luck to everyone tonight. If you have questions, ask them in Discord. See ya.